1975 festival. It's one that we'll always remember because we had Rita Powell coming opening as former Miss World. And look at Bridge Blake picking her nose. Bridge presented Mrs. Powell. That's David Powell taking a bow there. Miss India. She's a lovely lady and has continued to be friends all the years. One of her daughters got married last year. Got a picture of the wedding at Christmas time with a letter telling us all about their year before. The two girls have qualified as doctors since. This is Bridge. Now Bridge is in Australia now. And she will have a fit when she sees this. But it's just wonderful to have it. She threatened to say all sorts of things that night to Rita Powell, but she behaved very well on the night. She gets played to the cameras. It was just a wonderful experience. Peter McLean, who became a Donegal Person of the year afterwards, got Rita to come along because she was working with him on Derby Street. That's the late Father Dawson, who was in Korea for years. That's the late Huey Dunlop in the ESB. That's David and Rita Powell at Gallagher's Hotel with Kay Blake, my sister-in-law from Limerick, the late John Friel, and the two girls, Anne Marie and Deirdre. Jim Glacken was photographer in those days. That's Mickey McHugh. Look at Eileen Peoples. Eileen was getting ready with Kathleen Kelly to go to America that day, a long time ago. Now, this is at Glenveigh Deers. Glenveigh put in a float that year. That's the late George Laughlin of Rann. John Freeland, Rita and David Powell and the children. Going around the town. That's Hannah Laughlin's son. Married now with his own family, Mary O'Donnell again, another year on, with the Ray Eye float. Now this is Alcorn's float. Mrs. Alcorn. Tommy Alcorn. Tommy is now 25 years in the business, he said, but actually he was 28. There he is with Rita and his late wife. This is the Glenveigh Deers. Glenveigh, that's Tommy Butler from Glenveigh. This is prior to when it was open to the public, Mr. McElhenney's day. That's Hannah Laughlin driving her tractor with the ICA. Again, Mickey Cullen comes into view with his fishy fish, and Johnny McCormick, a year older. Now that's down the new road. Those houses are gone as well. That's the Defence Force, Civil Defence. They always put on it, and that's the late Patsy McFeely. He would have been driving for Andy Higgerty, I presume. And that's the Lost William, possibly Giltex float. Always very colourful. Took a great pride in doing these things in those years. And nothing was spared time-wise or dress-wise. That's down at Fisher's or Rosemount. That's Victor Fisher's mother and his sister. And that's the late Maggie Collins. Maggie wrote to all the personalities all over the world. And she kept a scrapbook of them all. And we brought the Powells down to meet her, and Maggie was as proud as punch. That's my mother and my brother Alec and Kay and Rita Powell's two children viewing the parade at the church above the post office now. The Northern Bank. That's Laura Morrow and John and Kathleen Blake and the late Josie Ewan, and that's Bridge propping up again. The late Josie Ewan, Castle Street, and then she came to Artadon. That's Francie Tracy. And this is Mary Blake, Pascal's mother, and Mrs. McLean. A lot younger. Mary will love to see that. That's Adrian McLinchy. Some of the McGills. This is Letterkenny Band. Phil Doherty's there in the forefront with them. Now the whole Port Road is taking on a new dimension now. That's one of the Wilkies. And I think that's Eddie McCauley on the drums. Now this would have been the Irish School of Dancing, and that's the late Joe McCafferty with them. Now this is the year RT came and filmed it with Tom McGrath and Mike Murphy. down at the Market Square. This is Mrs. Guller, Bart O'Donnell. She's deceased as well. This is the Galway Band again. And this is the famous Russian group came. There were 39 strong Russians. They put on a show that will never be forgotten in Letterkenny. Oh, they were brilliant, absolutely fantastic. There's the RTE crew again. Some of them are still coming up in the credits. A different Mike Murphy, let me tell you. Now that's the tourist bar, it's gone too. This is the ASB float. And more Morris dancers. They dance the whole way up the town and down the town, morning, noon and night. Don't know where they got their energy from. There's a Norwegian group. They were very colourful as well. But they all put on very good shows. And they all stayed in homes around the town. I think this group was from Malta. I am right, yeah. That's from Malta. And that's Alcorn's float. That's the late Jim Burney. That's Thomas Keyes putting his head out the window. That's Sandra Dugan and Colin Dugan giving out goodies from the IAWS float. This is the Moneyglass troupe from County Antrim. And this is the Belgian group. Each year the Boy Scouts used to carry the plaque just in front of the group so as everybody knew what country was represented. And they all dressed up in their Scouts uniform for the day, and they always had a very enjoyable day. These people took great pride in being part of the festival parade. Now these weren't as lively as the Russians, but they were there all the same. There was always plenty of bands, but a lot of the groups made their own music coming downtown. Now this is the festival queen. I think that lady was Kincaid. I'm not sure. That's a Dutch group. They had a brass band. They were absolutely fabulous. And I think that was the Ukrainian group. Russians and Ukrainian. Oh, that's Mary McKay from Glenveigh. And there's Hannah coming with her ICA. They did a skit on the RTE crew, so they got a great kick out of that. And that's myself and Tom McGran, Hannah Laughlin, Mike Murphy. And that was the sound fella, I think, from RTE. They were a great crew. There's Thomas Keyes and Bridie and Olive Daly, Olive Malloy. And her too, my goodness, they're both educated now in England. They've qualified. That was Rita Powell. She called up to visit home on the Sunday morning, and that's her. She called down to Barney Doherty's house to visit his mother as well. So it's just lovely to have this. I mean, she was a wonderful woman. She just did her cause. That's May Doherty. And I think the family were all there. They'll come up maybe in. They don't come up in this one, they'll come up in another one, you know. I have them all on tape. This is a wee bit dull now. This is Barney and Rita and David going to Mass on Sunday morning. And this is Father Maguire leading the group. That was an Italian, the Lanzarote Choir. They came for 2 years. That's Father Willie McMenamin, Father Crossan. And this is after Mass. That's the Malta group. This was a focal point of the festival. It was a 12 o'clock Mass on Sunday morning. And we also had a service over in the Church of Ireland as well. So everybody was well catered for. That's Tony McCauley from BBC. That was really the highlight of the festival. Everybody just loved to go to that Mass. And David Powell, Rita again, Cormac Sheridan, and Joan Sheridan. Now this is the Russian group and the Golden Grill. We had a few extra shows to put on because they were so wonderful. Everybody wanted to come and see them, and you know, I think it was about, they got in for maybe 50p for the evening shows, and these shows lasted for over an hour, and they were just going around like spinning jennies. and their costumes were just fabulous. They were something else. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough film taken of them at the time, but I was just lucky I had the camera, and I suppose Alan Speer had his. And outside of that, well, RTE did some filming that year, but they wouldn't have a lot of this in it. There's more local personalities in the opening and things like that. Because what can you put into half an hour? Tom McGrath, Mike Murphy did a wonderful job, and it went out on RTE sometime, I think February 76. These costumes, honest to goodness, they were just fabulous. These groups stayed in the Ballyrain Hotel as it was in those days. And there were some great parties at night. Nancy Duffin and Billy Watson, and they have some great stories to tell about it. I wasn't there, so I can't relate. I think there was a lot of vodka on the scene, and there were a lot of sore throats in the mornings. This is a fantastic. This is a brilliant, absolutely. I'm sorry that the quality's not so good in this, but the fact that it's here, it's just nice to have it. I mean, this group just, but they were supposed to come for a few days, and I think they came for, supposed to come to about 5 days, and I think they were here for about 12. They nearly put us into financial ruin. This is Nellie. She was in charge of the group. She had perfect English. There's the late Mary Stevenson. And enjoying it as well, enjoying the show. Mary also helped Nellie Callan. She was great help up in the school. Feeding everybody. Everybody was fed in the one place. And there used to be great sessions up there as well. Now this group were just incredible. Incredible. It just seems like yesterday too. It's 25 years on. Where have they all gone now? I mean, they sent their Minister of Culture here, their Minister for Culture here to Ireland with them. And a while after it, Mr. and Mrs. Hanley went out to Russia, and they were treated royally by those people. And we didn't know who we had or what we had, but they just came and enjoyed themselves. They had no money, of course. The Russians never have, but they were well fed, and I think they got a few pounds here and there from the committee to keep them going. That's the sign, and this is the poster. I'm very lucky I still have one of those posters, and it'll be going into the collection as well to the library, and Liam Renane will be taken over. That's Miss Diver up the high road. She was a nurse or a matron at some stage. That's the late Charlie Drain and Peggy Drain. Charlie was a great footballer in his day. These are some of the groups now coming up and down the town. This is the Galway band coming down the Market Square. Whatever time, it must have been on a Monday for the close of the festival, possibly. I might be wrong. But it always closed on the Tuesday at 12 o'clock, and that was another big outing. That's Laura Morrow in the bank. Laura's married over in Ardara now. That was one of the brothers that was with the group from Galway. I see Brian Greaves' office in the background. These are the Galway people as well. That's the late Colin O'Donnell and Isabel DeLapp. That's Kathleen Blake, and that's Bridge and John Blake. Goodness me. That's the late Jack Lynch. Now that is also the band. That's the late Alec Larkin and one of his boys. That house in the background's gone as well. That's the late Charlie Green. Marie Greaves and one of her girls, married now as well. It's Father Madeleine. That's Frank Vaughan in the background. That's Tony Coyle. Tony always appeared for the finale. That's Pat McCart. Pat's retired from the ESB now. That is Tessie Nee. Mrs. Doherty, that's Mrs. Coyle, that's Johnny Doherty. John Frail, Morris Graham and Hannah Laughlin. That's myself and Hannah and Morris. I'd like to get some of those other people in that I missed. It's Tony Duffy, Breed Swinney, Breed's secretary. That's Doda Winston and Reggie McCauley. And that's a young Father Willie and Father McAteer. Mother God. And this is Tony Coyle always did the conducting on the final day. That's Janice Blake. Bernie Dillon and the Galway group. Those people came with the Galway group. Jimmy Swinney, the Lord of Mercy, and him making the final speech in the square. And that's one of the Galway people, the conductor. Now, where are we here? That's them taking down the flag. That's Charlie Doherty's house over at the other side. It's gone. Horribines is gone. Fleming's is gone. Patrick Bradley. The late Jim Burney. John Blake. Terry Russell. This is, that's Francie Mooney, father of Alton, and that's the late Paddy McDonough and Tom McGrath, also deceased. Tom started the Late Late Show, actually. That's what he is famous for. But he did a great show that year for RTE. Now, that's Charlie Collins, that's Joe Deehan. This is somebody's wedding, but whose I don't know till we come up to it. Here we come now. That's Bridie McManus and Martin. My goodness me. I didn't even know I had this. And that's Duncan Doherty. Liam Blake. Josie McCormick. Theresa Coyle. Liam Blake again. Patsy Blake. Maureen Deehan. Jean Lockhart. Mary Coyle. Ida Daly. Mrs. Ponsonby. Willie McManus and Charlie Collins. And these are two, and that's Mrs. Carberry there to Donald. And that's Joe Deehan. And this is Patrick Kern coming over the Burma. Me and Barney Doherty having a little dance. I see Breed Swinney in the background. Alec O'Donnell, Tony and Mary Gallagher. Father Brian Gallagher from, and Susie Swinney. And Jim Nallen and Marie Blake, Billy Watson and Breed Swinney, George Laughlin, Patrick Bradley, the late Tony McLinn and Kay, and Jean Crossan, and John McCrossan and Anna Nallen, and Leo Cullen, and Eileen Larkin and the late Jimmy Swinney. Mary Regan, where is she now? The late Joe McCafferty. John Friel and Marie Blake, Breed Swinney and John Friel, Father Brian Gallagher, John C. Kern and Betty. This must have been a festival night out at some place. I think it was Milford actually. Eileen Larkin, Susie and Jimmy Swinney, Nellie Callahan and Johnny, late Johnny Callahan, Marie Blake and Mary Regan, Joe and Mrs. McCafferty, Patrick Bradley, Alan Speer and Margaret, Billy Watson's in the corner, Aki O'Donnell's over there somewhere, Eileen Larkin and Barney Doherty. It's very easy when you know the people, some of them. That's Ossie Bryson. Ossie used to always do compare at the concerts. Barney Doherty saying a few words. I just can't. And that's Noel McGroarty playing the accordion and Hannah Laughlin giving her usual song. Sean Gallagher and Nora Glencar. Hannah doing a duet with John Friel. Wish we had sound to that. That would sure sound good. Still at the festival party. Some repeats, same crowd over again. Patrick Bradley now rendering the town I love so well, no doubt. You always give a long relation. Tony Gallagher, whether he's singing or saying a few words, I just can't recall. Now this is the ladies, that's Mrs. Farley and Mrs. Kern and Derek Hill. This was presenting prizes to the children. That's Maria Nee. Presenting children's prizes for the art competition down in the old Devlin Hall upstairs. So school inspector there, I can't remember his name. Hannah Carey was there. Mrs. Hannigan, Mrs. Kern. Mrs. Kern always organised the art competition. And Derek Hill always came in and judged it and helped with the prizes. Derek is an international figure, an international artist, as you know. We're very lucky to have him in Donegal for so long. That's Johnny McCormick again. Johnny must have did something good, drawing of some kind. But the